You are tuned into a special player spotlight interview on the CS Podcast.
The CS Podcast, presented by the all-new NUC NFL Draft Bible, bringing you the names that you need to know first since 2002. Visit NFLDraftBible.com. As always, I'm your guys' host, Chris Shanafelt, and joining the show now for a special player spotlight interview is somebody who has already suited up in the pros with the LA Kiss and the Arizona Rattlers of the Arena Football League. This summer, he signed with the Chicago Bears and was with them throughout training camp and preseason. By way of Brown University, he is kick and punt return specialist AJ Cruz. Thanks for taking some time this evening, AJ. How's everything going?
It's going well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Definitely appreciate you taking some time this evening. Now, your journey to the National Football League, I think it's safe to say it was unordinary and very interesting to say the least. I think for those who are listening who may not be too familiar with you, AJ, would really be fascinated and impressed with your journey, with your story, and it goes back to your days at Brown University, where after playing defensive back for 4 years, you picked off 12 passes, and you were selected first-team All-Ivy your final 3 years there. How would you describe your college football career, and was playing professional football the ultimate goal, or did an opportunity kind of just come your way after college and you kind of just ran with it? No pun intended, of course.
I had an incredible time and an incredible experience at Brown University. The staff there is awesome and just was an incredible 4 years. Really enjoyed it. Had a lot of success, fortunately, and there was definitely a point where professional football became, I guess it transitioned. It had always been a dream of mine. There's no doubt about that. I dreamt of it since I was 5 years old, and then I would say probably maybe transitioning after my freshman year to sophomore year. I had a lot of success early on. I was able to start as a freshman, make All-Ivy as a freshman, and, it just kind of, for whatever reason, or it switched from a dream to a goal. It transitioned from a dream to a goal, and I guess that made it more attainable and put kind of a taste in my mouth for this is actually what I want to work towards, instead of it just being like, oh, yeah, it'd be sweet if this happened, but it was – it kind of, after that freshman season, it was just like, hey, if I can have a 4-year career and put up and kind of continue to go on the rise in terms of my abilities, then I think it's very attainable. So that kind of transition then was big, and then everything from there on out, every summer, every workout, every time I was on the field, that's kind of the way I approached it was, I'm preparing myself. I want to be the best that I can be, and the goal of playing professionally is definitely there.
And, of course, that goal went on to turn into a reality. Once your college days were over, you went on to take an opportunity in the Arena Football League with the LA Kiss in what I believe was the team's first year of existence. And then after 1 year there, you had a career year with the Arizona Rattlers. I mean, not only did you record 45 and a half tackles, 6 pass breakups on defense. On offense, you also reeled in 27 receptions for over 200 yards and 5 touchdowns. You also had 3 rushing touchdowns. And, of course, in the return game, you brought 6 kickoff returns to the house. Looks like you're kind of like a plug-and-play type of player in the AFL. Wherever the coaches wanted you to play, you would do so and have a lot of success at it. What would you attribute your success in the Arena Football League to?
I think it was a great. I mean, I had awesome coaches. When I transitioned to Arizona was when we really started working the receiver position. I mean, before that, I hadn't played that since high school, and so it was a big transition, and it was something that was brought to me many times over the course of after I graduated at Brown. A lot of people were like, hey, maybe you should switch to receiver for a better opportunity to get a shot in the NFL. And just kind of something that I kind of brushed off. But, the coach Kevin Guy over with Arizona, he sat me down. He said, "Here's the deal. I think if you make that transition, I think that's going to suit you best in the NFL, and that's what's going to get you an opportunity." And so after kind of sitting down and talking with him, it was like, you know what, I think this is the place for me, and this is, the route I want to go, and that is my ultimate goal. I want a shot in the NFL, and he did a tremendous job coaching me up in terms of learning. I was basically a blank slate. Anything he took, I tried to take everything that he taught and implemented into my game, and that was a big part of the success there. I think they do things really well in Arizona, and it was just really cool to be able to have such a great season offensively, defensively, and obviously the return game was something special. And it was just a tremendous experience. And like you said, it was a career season in terms of some of those numbers, and I loved every minute of it. Any side of the ball, playing defense.
And is it safe to say that was your best football season? Whether you go back to your college days or even all the way back to your high school days. I mean, that 1 year in Arizona in the AFL, was that your best all around season throughout your football career period?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I mean, my senior year at Brown, I had a pretty good season if you look at statistics. I mean, my senior year, I think I finished with four interceptions, I want to say, and this is a time where I'd been starting for 4 years now, and I was getting targeted very few times a game. So, looking at all things considered, it was definitely one of the best statistics, but my senior year was a pretty great year for me, and I really loved every minute of that as well. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at those numbers, you would say, wow, this was a breakout year for the kid, and I think it was, and it opened a lot of doors for me. It did. So that was really cool. It was really crazy to see how finely woven things were, the connections that kind of led to the opportunities that I got, for sure.
And, of course, after spending 2 seasons in the AFL, again, one in L.A. and one in Arizona, you were gaining interest from NFL teams, one being the Chicago Bears. How did you find out that the Bears had interest in you, and what was your reaction to hearing that, the Chicago Bears wanted to sign you to a contract?
I mean, it had kind of got to the point in the arena season. We were towards the end of the year, and I had just kind of signed with a new agent and was kind of hoping to get something going. I felt like, again, the year that I was having was really good, and I really wanted to get film and get my stuff in front of the right people. And, shortly after I signed with my new agent, I mean, he knew I was capable of playing in the NFL, and that was his big thing was, hey, I think you got what it takes, and just keep doing what you're doing. And sure enough, I had some good film to put together that we sent out, and right away we had 3 or 4 bites of teams that wanted to bring me in for workouts. And so, like I said, that was about week 17 or 18 of the arena season. The Detroit Lions had called and said, hey, we want to bring AJ in for a workout. And so my agent calls me and said, hey, you got to work out on Tuesday. This was a Friday. He's like, you got to work out on Tuesday with the Detroit Lions. Be ready to go for that. And then I was like, sweet, all right. I mean, I kind of wasn't expecting it. It was just so short, and you kind of can't really expect certain things like that just out of the blue, and it was just really cool. And he told me the Saints also were trying to figure out a date to get you in there. And then about 2 hours after that conversation, he calls me back and says, hey, Chicago actually wants to bring you in before anybody else does. They'll fly you in first Sunday night. You'll work out for them Monday, and we'll go from there. And so I was like, all right, I'm on board. And so we'd actually changed the flight that I had set with Detroit, and they were going to fly me out from Chicago to Detroit from a Monday to Tuesday. And when I got to Chicago, I just went out and did my best and gave everything I could on the field for them, did a bunch of drills. I probably fielded 30 or 40 punts for them and did different drills in terms of punt returns. And, sat around for about an hour, and then they came in and said, hey, we want to sign you. And it was just a surreal moment, absolutely surreal. Definitely a culmination of so much hard work and something that I didn't really touch on earlier, but I mean, I was a year out of college before I really got a shot professionally with the KISS. And I had gone to maybe 8 or 9 open tryouts, and I had another 2 or 3 private workouts with teams. And just for whatever reason, I felt like I was doing really well, and it just didn't click. So it was a grind just to get, an arena contract, and then a grind getting that workout with the Bears, and then to have that hey, we're signing you to a 3-year contract, that was just pure elation. I can't really describe it well enough. It was so much faith and hard work, and it was just a moment where I had to really stop and just soak it in, and definitely thank and praise God for that opportunity, because without him, that wouldn't have been possible, and it was just such a surreal moment for sure.
Absolutely. Now this question might be a little bit off topic, but, here on the CS podcast, AJ, I interview a lot of draft prospects. I like to focus in on the smaller school prospects that, hope to live the dream of playing in the National Football League or even in the Canadian or Arena League. What advice would you give to, future NFL prospects, future pro prospects, coming from whether they're a smaller school like yourself, Brown University, an Ivy League school, or even Division II or Division III? What advice would you give those guys to kind of keep grinding, keep working out, even if things aren't really looking up, even if it's even if they're thinking, do I really have a shot at this? What advice would you give to those guys to kind of just keep going at it until somehow, some way, an opportunity comes your way?
I think the biggest thing is having that faith and confidence in yourself, and that's first. If you have the faith and the conviction that you can do it, it's really that is key, and from that is going to stem the way that you approach everything, your workouts, whether it be lifting or on the football field. Everything has to be precise. Everything has to be a focused drive. You have to go out every day and know, hey, I'm giving everything I can on this lift. I'm giving everything I can for this hour and a half of drills, of position work, of whatever it is. And you have to have that, because there are days that it does get discouraging. There are days where it's like, is this worth it? Am I crazy for thinking I belong? But if you have something in you that can get you through those days that come, and you can get out there and get your work done, you're going to be all the better for it and more prepared. And the rest is just really, a lot of people talk about it's luck and timing. Well, luck is really just when opportunity, when preparation meets opportunity. So if you stay prepared constantly, you have to be diligent and constantly prepared. Whenever that opportunity comes, you're going to be ready, and you're going to kind of excel for whoever's giving you a look. And that's what it comes down to, is constantly being prepared, constantly pushing yourself, constantly getting yourself out of bed, getting yourself in the weight room, getting yourself on the field on the days that you don't feel like it. That is huge.
Hey, well said, well said. Once again, return specialist AJ Cruz is here on the phone lines on the CS podcast, presented by the all-new NUC NFL Draft Bible. Once again, visit NFLDraftBible.com. I'm your host, Chris Shanafel, and AJ, kind of going back to your career and your journey, I mean, it looks like you were brought to Chicago to mainly be a special teams contributor as a return man, though in training camp and preseason, you were seeing snaps at wide receiver as well. I think that there's no doubt that you can make an argument that Devin Hester, and again, this is a little bit off topic, but Devin Hester, you can make an argument that he's the greatest return man in the history of the NFL. I mean, he holds a bunch of records. Now, obviously, you can add names such as Deion Sanders, Dante Hall, and Josh Cribbs to that discussion as well. But there's no doubt that Hester's name does come up in that conversation. Now, once you signed with the Bears, I've seen quite a few people would call you the Devin Hester of the AFL, the Devin Hester of the Arena Football League. How do you feel about that comparison? And was there any added pressure coming to Chicago with that label?
I mean, first of all, it was an honor. I mean, it was pretty fun hearing people say that, especially guys in the AFL. Some of the commentators and announcers had said some of those things, and so it was just an honor to kind of be mentioned in the same line of frame with Hester. And I agree. I think he was one of the best return men to ever do it. I mean, he's still, plugging away, and he's a guy that I actually looked up to, especially over the course of my high school career and college career. I mean, I've been returning kicks and punts since I was a little kid, and guys like that were exciting to watch. I loved watching Hester play. He was one of my favorites, and there's no doubt about that. And he was such an awesome, just exciting player to watch. And that is definitely who I would try and mold my game with. You want to be exciting. You want to get people on their feet. You want to be a spark for a team, and that's exactly what he is, and he does. So it was an honor. It is an honor to kind of be even mentioned in the same frame of light as him, and and it was pretty cool. Getting an opportunity, like I was saying earlier, wide receiver was a new transition for me, but I feel like my skill set and the opportunities and the coaching that I got in Chicago, I mean, I feel like I tremendously improved, and that was one of the comments that even our O coordinator, Coach Gase, and I had a discussion about. We talked about from the time I got there to, unfortunately, when I got hurt. He said your improvement over that short amount of time was tremendous, and he liked that. And again, like I said, I mean, I'm a fresh slate in terms of receiver, so I just tried to pick up anything and everything I could while I was out there.
Absolutely. And you know what? I actually had the opportunity to make it down to Bourbonnais for the Chicago Bears training camp. And I got to say, one of the most exciting plays, I think, during training camp was actually a diving catch you made on the sidelines. I had my media badge, and I think you're about a foot away from taking my knee out while making that diving catch. But I got to say, that was probably one of the more exciting plays I've seen down there in Bourbonnais this past summer. And obviously, again, I mean, it was a lot of fun watching you not only take punts, take kicks during the summer with the Bears, and obviously now kind of looking at some of your highlights now, kind of discovering exactly who AJ Cruz is. But tell us, I mean, what exactly goes into, and you've returned quite a few kicks and punts to the house. I mean, even a field goal, I believe you returned a missed field goal your first year with LA in the AFL. What exactly goes into taking a kick, taking a punt, taking a field goal all the way down to the other end of the end zone? I mean, what exactly goes into, scoring a touchdown on special teams as a return man?
I mean, it's mindset. It really is. Anytime I'm back there, you gotta, as a competitor, if you're in that position, you're thinking in your head, I'm taking this to the house. I'm scoring on this. When I get the ball in my hands, the best guys, that is their mindset every time. It doesn't matter what it is: kickoff, punt, field goal, a catch, a screen, a deep ball, whatever it is. The guys that do it best, their mindset is I'm scoring every time I touch this ball. And you have to have that belief every time you do touch the ball. And I think that's something that just over the course of my time playing is just kind of the way that my mind was built. Was I'm giving everything I have on this play, and my expectation is I'm scoring. And that's a huge – I mean, the game is so much mental, and you have to be able to overcome a lot mentally, and you have to be strong mentally and focused, and I think that's a huge part of that, especially in the special teams side of things.
And if you can, AJ, I mean, talk a little bit about training camp this past summer with the Bears. I mean, again, in addition to returning kicks and punts, you were also used as a receiver, a position that you're still kind of learning at the time. I mean, what was it like to practice with guys such as, an Alshon Jeffrey and Eddie Royal? I mean, guys like that. And did you take anything away from them? Did you learn anything from those veterans?
Oh, absolutely. Every day there was something I was watching. I mean, Al and Eddie just both are actually very phenomenal with their technique, and it was really cool to be able to see that, especially the access you have to film while you're there. I mean, I was watching what these guys did at practice every single day while I was out there, and then I would go in on the reps and see who was winning and seeing what they were doing. And I think that was a huge part of why I developed so rapidly in that short amount of time. And I mean, I had awesome opportunities with Eddie after practice several times, just picking his brain, like, hey, I'm struggling with this. How did you get good at that? Or how did you, how this technique or that technique, the blade, how did you get good at doing that? Can you help me? I've been having trouble with, leverage on this route or that route. And just having him to kind of bounce ideas off of and see how he attacks things, because I feel like he's a guy that I would like to model my game after. He's a smaller guy by stature, and obviously, so I'm going to try and model my game after someone who has similar stature and athletic ability, and so he's a guy that also, he doesn't just play the slot. He can be moved outside wide and play as an outside receiver, and that's something that I'm definitely working on towards being able to do, so make myself more valuable. Like, not only am I a slot guy, I can be split out wide and make something happen from outside. And so he was definitely a guy that I tried to talk with, especially as we were going through film as a wide receiver core. Just, even while we're in meetings, just, hey, what did you think of this? Or how'd that look? Just getting some feedback from a guy that's been doing it for, I think he's 8 or 9 years in now. And, I mean, obviously his resume speaks for itself, and he's had success everywhere he's been. So it was really great to kind of have that. And, again, Alshon, too, just, I mean, he's a lot different in terms of different style of player than I am. I mean, he's 6'4", I'm 5'9", so it's a little different, and some of those techniques are a little bit different, but the fact that he's out there drilling them, and the fact that he's out there putting those techniques into the field of play, not just from position drills, but when we're actually doing full team reps and things like that, they were great guys. I mean, it was an incredible atmosphere to be around. Everybody in that locker room was just pretty great quality guys as a whole, and it was just really cool to be around.
And that's definitely great to hear for those Chicago Bears fans listening. It sounds as if, they're, like you said, I mean, there's some good guys in the locker room. Now, you touched on it just a minute ago. I mean, unfortunately, you did not make it past the final cuts. I know an ankle injury was kind of holding you back a little bit there towards the end of your time in Chicago. Now I think that you opened the eyes of many people, not only myself, but what were some things you kind of took away from your time with the Bears that you'll be mindful of to use wherever it is that you play next?
I mean, just everything that I learned at wideout was huge. I mean, and that was something that even as I talked with Coach Fox when I was leaving, when I was getting waived. It was a conversation of topic. He said, hey, we were impressed with what you did at wide receiver. They weren't really expecting me to do anything at receiver. They really brought me in to challenge and see what the return game was going to be like. And I think it was just an added surprise of some of the things that I was able to do. And, I mean, obviously I've still got a long ways to go, and I've got a lot to work on and to develop. And I've been busting my butt every day since I've been cleared medically back home just to get back. But it was one of those things where I was confident I gave everything I had. Unfortunately, that injury cut my time short. If I didn't get hurt, I think it would be looking a lot different right now. I would probably be in Chicago having this conversation with you. But it's one of those things where there's other opportunities that will come. I'm confident that, the door's not closed for me. And, again, a lot of it is just kind of staying prepared and working on those things that I learned there at wide receiver to make me more valuable. So I'm not just a return guy. I'm a guy that you can put in the slot and make things happen there. And that's the goal, and that's what I'm working towards. And, obviously there's a lot of work to do to get to that point. And I'm just hoping I can get in front of some teams and show them what I can do. And, hopefully Chicago is one of those teams in the mix I'm actually not eligible back in Chicago until next week. So, you never know. You never know where I might end up, but I'm hoping to land somewhere by the end of the season.
And as you said, AJ, I mean, you've been working ever since you've been cleared medically. Give us an update, if you can, on your training schedule. I mean, what are some things that you've been doing to become a better football player as a whole? And, again, I mean, are you really just looking for another shot in the NFL and that's it? Or are you open to making a return in the AFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to whatever opportunities come. I mean, first things first is the NFL season's going on right now, and you know, my agent has fielded calls from different teams, and we're just kind of working to see what's going to be the best fit and where I could get out to pretty much as soon as possible, as soon as next week. And I alluded to a little bit earlier the fact that I'm back eligible in Chicago next week, and you know, the door's not closed there. And Miami's another team that's been calling, and you know, we'll see. I think there might be a couple other opportunities again by the time the season ends here in the NFL, just at least to get in front, to get a workout in front of some teams. And you know, and that's all I really want and could ask for, is let me get in front of you and show you what I can do. And but if nothing happens this NFL season, you know, there's a definite possibility. I mean, the Arizona Rattlers actually still have my rights in the AFL. So if I did go back to the AFL, I would be back there. And I love the organization, top to bottom, everything about it. So, you know, that's a definite possibility as well. And even CFL, you know, you never know. I know the minute I got released from Chicago with the injury, Winnipeg was calling my agent up constantly, and he's like, well, he's not healthy right now. Well, you know, he's going to have some opportunities in the NFL. So, no, they, I guess there is a possibility of exploring that. I know that they just had a roster. Well, they had a roster expansion about a month ago, but they are finishing up their season soon. So you never know. Like I said, I'm open to whatever opportunity comes my way. I've been working my butt off. You had actually asked about like the schedule, and for me, basically what it is 5 days, typically 5 days a week. You know, I'm getting four lifts in. You know, I'll go through, I guess, a typical week. Monday I'll lift at 7 in the morning, get myself a little bit of rest in between, and then I'll do some position work and field work with a receiver coach out here, Karif Bird. He works with a lot of the agents out in Southern California and works a lot of their receivers for pre-draft stuff. But I've known him since I was a sophomore in high school, and you know, it's nice to get some work with him in his natural position. As now I'm doing receiver stuff with him, so that's exciting. So I go to him for an hour and a half, depending on the intensity of the workout for that day. And then my Tuesday, I'll do speed training early in the morning, and then a few hours off, get another lift in. Wednesday is just position drills, and then I'll do ball drills after position drills. Thursday is back to basically that Monday schedule, lift early in the morning, and then my field work right around noon time. And Friday is the speed and conditioning, and the lift as well. So it's a grind, and you gotta be willing to do it. And I mean, I love it. That's a part of the grind that I actually really enjoy is the workouts. I like that feeling when you're exhausted and you don't want to, like, it might sound sick, it might sound crazy, but I love if a workout kicks my butt to where I'm struggling to walk at the end, or I just want to lay down, or I feel like I'm going to throw up. I love that, and so it's just been the last few weeks since I've been healthy, the last probably 5 weeks or so. I mean, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, so I feel great and ready for whatever opportunity might come.
And you know, those times after a workout, you know, the next morning and you're feeling sore, I mean, those are usually the moments, the time, you know, when you realize, you know, okay, now I'm starting to improve. Now I'm starting to, you know, your body's starting to look a little more different. You're starting to feel much better. And, you know, I think it's safe to say that, you know, like you said a minute ago, I mean, I got to think that it feels good to know that the phone lines aren't dry. You know, you like you mentioned, I mean, the Dolphins have kind of shown some interest. I mean, who knows? Maybe you could, you know, come on back here in Chicago with the Bears. If you do that, I know you're on the West Coast. I hope you have a very nice winter jacket as the winter is right around the corner. But final question for you, AJ, and I really do appreciate your time. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you. Final question, I think is pretty simple, and I'm really interested in hearing your answer to this. Now, from the AFL to the NFL, what would you say is the biggest difference between playing in the two leagues?
I think one of the biggest differences, I think those big guys in the NFL just are freaks of nature. I mean, you get linebackers coming down on kickoffs or fielding punts. I got a guy that's 6'3", 240, and he's running down just as fast as the safeties and the corners that are coming down. And so it's just really impressive to see that, and it's quite a painful hit. I know I took a hit. I was joking with someone I was talking with someone about a week or two ago, and I was like, it wasn't until about 2 weeks ago I stopped feeling one of the hits from the game against Indy, and kind of joking around about it. Just it's a higher impact, I think, and it's not to say that there aren't good. I mean, there's been a lot of guys that have transitioned from the AFL to the NFL and gotten opportunities and made it on teams or practice squads. So it happens. I think more than people realize, and sometimes it's not publicized, or sometimes it's not a story that's brought to light. But there are guys that do it and make it, and I think that there's a lot of great talent in the Arena League, and so that definitely helps, especially from the skill position wise. I feel like the step up wasn't a huge transition, whereas maybe coming out from college and making that transition straight to the NFL, it would have felt a lot different had I not been in the Arena League. It would have felt like a bigger jump for sure. So, I guess the biggest thing is those big guys move a little bit faster, and they come down and they bring it.
And as a return man, that is not something that you're really looking forward to. I would certainly assume, and like you said, I mean, one of those hits you took against Indy, I mean, you're now just feeling a little better from that hit. Obviously, I certainly hope you're joking about that.
Yeah.
But AJ, that's all I have for you, man. I really do appreciate you taking some time this evening to join this show to kind of share your story and give us an update as to where you're at today. And I'm certainly wishing you all the best, man. Like I said, I had an opportunity to watch you a little bit down in Bourbonnais, kind of watch these preseason games as well with the Bears. And it was certainly a blast watching you. You're really a fun player, and obviously a very skilled player to not only play in the Arena Football League, but obviously get a shot in the NFL. And I think the sky's the limit, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what opportunity comes your way next. Before I let you go, I mean, do you have anything else for us?
No, I just definitely want to thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversations, and like I said, just really appreciate you having me on the air.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. Thanks again, and take care, all right?
All right, take care. Thank you.